Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Maddie Yaka.
Welcome back to another episode, everyone. Today we are chatting with badass mother hustler, Seta MacCrory. She is a mom of 2 kids and owner of SubstiTooth Fairy dental staffing services. Every entrepreneur mom has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours. Thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I feel so honored and so excited to share my story.
It is so funny because we don't know each other, although we're both in the same area. Do you want to tell everyone how we connected?
Yes, I love it. I actually was telling my husband about this last night. Out of the 70,000 people on a social media platform, I kind of threw my speaker bio up there and you recognized the area code to my phone number. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she must know the area code. And gosh, I guess the rest is history now, but we realized that we live like one county away from each other. And I just love that.
So cool. I can't believe there are like 70,000 people in there. I was like, yo, 302 number. I see you.
That was funny. And I'm thinking, who knows Delaware?
So funny. I love it. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what your childhood was like, and does entrepreneurship run in your family?
Yeah, that's a great question. Childhood. I am first generation Armenian-American, and my parents immigrated to this country, Delco in particular, Delaware County. And I was the youngest of 4 girls, and entrepreneurship does not run in my family, but big dreams do. So I feel like I'm living out my parents' legacy and what they wanted me to create. So
I love that you said big dreams running your family. That is so cool. So you had mentioned that you were raised by first generation. You are a first generation Armenian-American. And tell me, I already know because you told me in the email, but fill in our listeners kind of like the schooling journey of your like your parents and then you as well.
So the schooling journey, well, my parents immigrated here from a third world country. So my mother really didn't have an educational level past the 5th grade. She was pulled from school, as women are expected to take on the mother type roles. So she was pulled from school at a very early age. And my father's educational level in their country in my country, I should say too, was the 8th grade. So it was really important to my mom, especially, for us to graduate with at least a high school diploma, because that's something that she never got to have, had the chance to do. So it was very important for her to make sure we received that high school diploma. In this country, I don't think she realized how important it was for college. Which, we kind of, I don't want to say fought my way into college, but I had to advocate for myself that was a better road.
Was she like, oh, you don't need that? Just go find something where you don't need it? Or she just thought it was too much money?
Yeah. And having 4 kids and not being able to provide your 3 older children, obviously she didn't want to, separate us and give one more over the other. And as they were blue collar parents and we grew up in Upper Darby, they just didn't have the money to do it. So I assured her that I would sign my 18-year-old life to college, and that is what I wanted to pursue.
Had your 3 older sisters not been interested in going to college, or they had just kind of been turned off by your mother's beliefs?
That's a good question. This
is why I didn't want to get into it on like our phone interview.
I love it.
I wouldn't have remembered. I don't know. It's just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah, that's great though. I was lucky enough to have 3 older sisters to encourage me to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome that they had your you had their support for that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. You were the first person in your immediate family to graduate college. Very awesome. Now, what was the why behind starting your business?
Oh, so the why.
Like, I know the answer to this, but for our listeners,
Yeah.
did you get right out of college and start your business, or?
No. So it was about 4 years after I graduated and I was a dental hygienist. I fell into the world of what we call temping. As a dental hygienist, I never knew this existed, but I met a really great person who had her own local staffing service in Delaware County, PA. And I loved temping because I could build my own schedule and I could still make the money that I could make as a hygienist, as a dental hygienist.
So are you just stepping in for people that had to call off of work?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's like substituting with an educational level, right? So the classroom still needs a teacher and they'll bring in a substitute for the day, for the week, what have you. So I stepped in as a temp dental hygienist. So I would alleviate that hygienist of if she needed to take off or maternity leave coverage. It could be anything that you're not really sure when your phone rings that morning of what you're stepping into. But I loved it. It was a great way to just meet new people. It challenged my skill. And again, it put the control back into my own hands because, a lot of dental offices are private practice, so they can't really offer corporate type benefits. So even if you signed on with an office full time, chances are you're not really receiving the health benefit, a retirement plan, PTO. So, I mean, I just thought to myself in my young age, why commit myself to an office when, I could make my own schedule and make my own benefits for myself?
So you were cool with doing that for a while and you never ended up wanting to commit to an office.
I did commit part-time because temping, it can be waves of lots of work at once or then no work at once. So sometimes you are sitting there for a day when you want to be working. In this climate, that doesn't really exist, thankfully. Like, knock on wood, hygienists are really in demand right now. So I loved temping, and I always kind of made that commitment part-time with an office to just uphold the fact that I would have the hours coming in, like the secure revenue coming in.
Now, you had an idea for a business for about 2 years, but you didn't act on it. Why not?
I did. I was afraid. I was so afraid. When I started my business officially, I was 25 years old. And for me, the fear in my mind, I thought it would take a lot of money to start a business, right? So I had this fear, even though I had this great idea, because at the time I moved to the state of Delaware. Delaware did not have a staffing service. So although I loved to temp, I was still driving to Pennsylvania for work every single day. Once I obtained my Delaware hygiene license, I, sought out the first staffing service I could, and there was none. I realized that very quickly. So in 2006, I'm like, oh my gosh, someone needs to do this in Delaware. I will work for them. I even influenced or tried to influence the temp agencies or staffing services in the Philadelphia area, saying, I will be your full-time Delaware temp. Start building in Delaware.
And they didn't bite on that.
No.
So then what was the straw that broke the camel's back and you finally put it here?
What a story. So I had met a really awesome dentist in PA. We were both employees for the same practice. And I remember her telling me that one day she was going to move to Delaware, and with her husband was a dentist as well. They were going to move to Delaware and start a dental practice. So here I am. So fast forward to 2008, I'm sitting at home and just looking through the mail, and I see this dentist mailer, like how you get those little, hey, we're open, we're a brand new office. So I'm like, oh, wow, that's funny. Let me open it. And I'm a dental nerd. So I'm like, what's this fun dental letter? So I opened this dental letter. They're accepting new patients. And at the bottom of that page was signed that doctor. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like a minute has gone by where I haven't seen her, maybe a year or two. And I just wanted to call her and congratulate her because I know that was a goal of hers to be in Delaware eventually. So here I was in Delaware and I thought to myself, I'm going to reach out to her. So I reached out to her and I congratulated her. And she said, well, funny enough, we're looking for a dental hygienist in Delaware, a full-time dental hygienist. Send your resume over and I will, have my husband take a look at it. So I did. And days went by, then a week went by. Then 2 weeks went by. Then 3 weeks went by. Then I get a phone call. About a month later. It was a Thursday night. It was a very enthusiastic dentist that I had never met or spoken to before. And he said, hey, my wife gave me your resume and I'm really interested in interviewing you. Would you be available tomorrow for what in dentistry we call a working interview? So a working interview is when you just go in and you are their hygienist for the day. You treat the patients, you work with their team, you see how you like it, which I love this. I love working interviews because it's really test driving.
If everyone vibes.
If everyone vibes, everyone's getting along. If you have the same philosophy in dentistry.
Didn't even know that was a thing. Okay.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's like, instead of just getting hired on the spot, you're just trying it out and window shopping, really. So it was a Thursday night. He said, well, I would love for you to come for a working interview tomorrow, 8 to 5, full day. Can you help? Can you work? And we can get the ball rolling. So I said, yeah, sure. Of course. I get in there. The office was so close to my house. If I wasn't so lazy, I probably could have walked there. But the Delco lifestyle is kind of like you even drive to Wawa. I mean, and there's one on every corner. So, the whole time on my way there, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's a few minutes away. How exciting is this? I get there and I looked at my schedule and it was half the time that a hygienist is allotted for the treatment of patients. Now, before I move any forward, this is a doable way of dentistry if you have the proper support and team surrounding you to keep you moving throughout the day. So yes, I was given an assistant. And I don't know what it was that day, but that assistant, she might have just been hungover, not feeling it, had her head down. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it was like an hour into this day. And I'm sitting here like
10 years.
Oh my God, scrambling to clean up, keep up with this really fast pace. I saw 18 patients in one day when a typical hygienist would see 8 to 10.
Wow.
18 patients. And within that first hour, that girl was like, I got to go home. So here I am, half the time allotted, all by myself. I was literally reasoning with myself, like, Seta, this will still be a good situation. This is the doctor that you met. This is the doctor you knew from PA, right around the corner from your house. Maybe if we get a better dental assistant, like I'm like literally going crazy. Talking to myself into this situation. So I made it. 18 patients, flying solo. And the doctor at the end of the day sat me down. He was very nice, very nice. Sat me down and said, you did an excellent job today. And I'm thinking, I know. I was like patting myself on the back too, like flying solo. Absolutely. And he said, well, unfortunately, we already hired someone for this full-time position.
What?
But we have another location. Yeah. I was in
You're
shock.
like, what? When I was rushing through like the list of people you gave me, you hired someone else?
Yeah. And you just called me last night to tell me there was a full-time position here. Yeah. So he said, I'm so sorry. We just hired someone just a couple days ago for this full-time position. We have another location. We may have a part-time need here or there. But then is where the blessing came in. So he goes on and he tells me, well, you're a temp, right? And I said, yeah, I do. I temp. I like to get out there and meet different offices. I really do love that. And he said, well, you know, there's no temp agency in Delaware, right? I said, yeah, I do know that. And I stayed very quiet. And usually I'm a very outspoken person, but I was kind of in shock and like not really wanting to engage at this point.
You're like, where's this going to go? What do you want?
Yeah. And exactly where it went was, well, you know what it takes to operate a temp agency, right? You would like know. And I said, I've been temping for a while now. And he said, well, maybe I will have a job for you one day. I'm going to start a temp agency and maybe you'll work for me one day.
Weird.
Okay.
Did you just not say anything? You're like, get me out of this office?
Yeah. I didn't say anything. And selfishly, I overcharged my hygiene rate because I thought to myself, well, if he knows temp agencies, he just saved himself an agency fee and had an excellent hygienist that day.
Yeah.
So he looked down at my timesheet and he kind of had some sticker shock. And I thought to myself, I just cleaned 18 patients for you.
Yeah.
Without an agency representing me or protecting me or supporting me. Yeah. And we never discussed the hourly rate before. So I thought to it wasn't crazy, but it was a very high premium level because that's what I was. And
that is what like, you are worth. Gosh darn it.
Yeah. And that was like the first time that I actually declared my value because, and I hate to say because I was upset, but sometimes it does take you getting upset to realize that you sell yourself short too. So, he wrote out my paycheck, gave me a paycheck that day. I sat in my car and I did the biggest ugly cry thinking, what a disappointment. Like, I can't believe this just happened because I realized I was taken advantage of. I had upheld his revenue of 18 patients that day. But in the meantime, the patient's quality was cut short because flying solo, although I was a premium hygienist, I'm sure that there could have been errors made and I ran behind and it just wasn't fair to anybody. It wasn't fair to me, his patients. And after my ugly cry, I started thinking, I can't let this guy start a temp agency in Delaware. Because if his track record
ignited the fire.
Oh yeah. Oh, ignited the fire. I felt like my head was on fire.
Yeah.
I felt like my head was on fire. And I looked down at that paycheck and I said, I'm going to Staples. I called my sister. I'm like, her name is Silva. I'm like, Silva, I'm starting SubstiTooth Fairy tonight.
You already had a name. You had already dreamed about a name and everything.
And I can't even take credit for the name. It was my sister Silva.
Awesome.
She found a children's book in the Goodwill that was named SubstiTooth Fairy. And she called me and she goes, yeah, she's like, I think I have the name. I'm like, okay, what is it? So we already had the name to it and everything. It was all right there, just waiting for my head to be on fire.
It is really interesting to hear, speaking to all these mother entrepreneurs, like what was the straw that broke the camel's back that ignited the fire to just start the business.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have thought about it, but something is holding them back. What do you think was holding you back? Was it like you thought you needed a lot of capital?
Yeah.
Was it, I know you had mentioned imposter syndrome somewhere in the email, or what was the biggest reason?
The biggest reason for me in that moment was the urgency to make a temp agency and do right by everyone. His track record of taking advantage, patients, me, I could see it taking advantage of dental community. So for me, I thought to myself, I have to do what is right. Whether I'm afraid or not, I have to do it. I have to do it. Whether I think I have money or not, I had a good $400 in my hand that day. I said, this is it. This is the initial investment. I'm going to Staples. And I literally just started it from there, from that paycheck that I earned that day.
Yeah. So what'd you go to Staples to do? Like print out
business cards, letters,
awesome.
grand opening. And back in the day, 2008, Google was like a baby by then. So you're looking through the yellow pages, and I made myself a list of doctors in Delaware, and I manually stuffed and stamped and hand wrote letters to every single dental office I could find in the state of Delaware, and waited by my phone.
So how long did it take for it to take off, for someone to call you, for people to start temping? And what was that like?
It was amazing. I don't know if it was beginner's luck. I don't know if I offset this need that everyone just wanted to have in the community, but it was a matter of a week.
Wow.
It was a week, and I started getting phone calls, and thankfully I had temped in enough offices in Pennsylvania and met some dentists throughout the Delaware community that they called because they saw my name. So
they were like, this chick's legit. We can rock with that.
Thankfully. I'm glad they think that. I'm glad they think that. But yeah, it was like a matter of a week. And because I was a dental hygienist, I got in there, and I was the dental hygienist for my staffing service.
That is amazing. I love that story.
Thank you.
There were a few topics that you wanted to touch base on in this episode. And one was letting everyone know that they are enough. You had said imposter syndrome is real, especially when trying to close a deal or take the next leap. But believing in yourself is the first and most important step. Why did you want to bring that to light in your episode?
Well, because I really think, and I really hope that it isn't true, but I think a lot of times we sell ourselves really short. And we're very capable humans. We're superheroes. And really, I think about what it takes to even giving birth. We are superheroes, and believing in yourself is so important, because other people can believe in you, but unless you believe in you, you're not going to do those big strides. And so you have to be the one looking at yourself, giving yourself that pep talk so that you can step into the bigger arena. And your kids are watching. Your kids are watching every little thing that you do and say to yourself, whether it's even looking in the mirror and saying, oh, I can't stand the way my hips look, or whatever, or, even the physical aspect of it all.
Yeah, positive self-talk, and absolutely watching how you talk around your kids is so important. And that was another thing you had brought up about how awesome it is to be a mother and an entrepreneur and have your kids involved. And I think that is one of the most fun things, is having my kids involved with me in my business. What was it like when you had children? Because you started your business before you had children, right?
I did. Yeah.
So what was it like having a business running and then bringing children into it?
It was a juggle. It was a circus. What was it like? Honestly, I have to say it was a blur. Now that they're 7 and 8 years old, it's like you kind of just do it, because that's the life that you have built, and you build them right into your world with you. I had written a little bit. I did a social media post about don't pause your dream, but bring your kids with you. And so, it's just life for everyone else as you know it. I mean, I even applaud the mothers out there that are employees that clock in and clock out every single day. And, they have that restrictive timeline on themselves, because I really admire that too. But as an entrepreneur, it's kind of like, hey, they just watch me stuff and stamp things, and they want to put stickers on things. So it's like, come on in. So they help me build my promo items. And I try to get them involved as much as possible, even if it's sitting on my lap and watching me on QuickBooks or submitting payroll or, making a placement happen. They're watching. So, and they want to learn it. So I'm excited. Maybe I'll have some tooth fairies one day, but I do want to make them strive for what they love. And we talk about this all the time, is God gives you that mission. And you never really know what it is, but the more you keep doing the things you love, the more it'll show itself to you.
Yeah, the signs will start popping up.
Yeah.
It was funny growing up. My parents had a business and it was seasonal. It was a mulch business. So during the spring and early summer, I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade. My mom would bring home like all of the checks at the end of the night. And I'd be like, oh, can I do the deposits for you? I don't even remember the first time. I've done them forever. So I get to like stamp the back and write all 50 deposits and do the next one. And she'd like pay me by the deposit. I think I got like $10 a deposit. I don't even remember. And then by the time I was in high school, I was at the yard answering phones and working the window and stuff like that. But I never thought that I was going to have a business. I started out as a teacher and then things changed and I ended up with a business with my sister. So it's pretty cool.
I love that. I love that. And you don't even realize that you're literally learning accounting as a child. And I love that they're teaching you that at home. I love that your parents did that for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome to be part of the family business. Let's see. And there was one more thing about kids that I wanted you to discuss. You had said you're not failing your kids by working. Can you go into detail about that?
Yeah. So early on, when they were little, like before preschool, I struggled with mom guilt. I struggled that I was, leaving them to do this. And because it feels like a big purpose in my life and a big passion in my life, and I love it so much, it felt selfish to, hand them off and have them go to daycare or childcare. But then I had a really great friend say to me one day, your kids aren't going to end up in therapy because you worked. And that stuck with me. It's still, and that was years ago when they were little, and it stuck with me. And I thought to myself, yeah, they're right. They aren't going to end up in therapy because mom worked and sacrificed. I didn't, my parents sacrificed. That wasn't one of the reasons that I went to therapy, but
Did your friend telling you that start to help lessen the mom guilt? Is that kind of when you turn the corner? Yeah.
Yeah, it made me realize I had to take a step back, and I do have to work. And I do have to devote the time. And as an entrepreneur, because you have your own schedule, I wasn't giving myself the time to work. I was just juggling everything. I was juggling and thought I could do it all and have them there with me 100% of the time. And it's funny, a lot of people think like, oh, having a baby is so easy. And I thought to myself in that moment, it's not, but then it just gets like a different level of difficult, like hard. They're walking, they're talking, they're grabbing everything. They're little humans.
When I started my real estate team with my sister, my first daughter was eight months old, and it was during COVID. So by the time like she was starting to walk, just like you said, and grab things, and a task that should have taken 10 minutes was taking like 30. And that's when I was finally like, because I had done this to spend time with her, but I was finally like, oh my God, I'm being so agitated. I have to put her in daycare because there are things that have to get done. But I was like, how can I still spend time with her? So I was fortunate enough that I could juggle it in a way that she was at daycare 3 days a week and home with me the other 2. I could chunk everything that way. But yeah, I was finally like I have to do that.
And you said it great. Yeah, and I think a lot of mom entrepreneurs out there, you know, you go into entrepreneurship so you can spend more time with your kids. So when you have that mindset, you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I did this so I can spend more time with them. And here I am, not able to focus, not able to get the work done. So you have that, internal struggle with yourself is like, what do? I did this so I could be with her. And now I can't do what I'm trying to do to be with her.
Yeah. And it's funny. You said as the kids get older, it's just like a different kind of hard. So each year I find a new balance with my children and with work. And this coming fall, it's just trying to find another new balance because I have my third child, but also my husband and I had always discussed homeschooling our children. And now my daughter's going to be in first grade. So I'm going to take the leap and homeschool. And it's just trying to figure out where's that business happen? Where's the mom life happen and the time for me and stuff. So that's going to be my journey this year.
Oh, wow. Well, good luck. Good luck to you. That's amazing.
It'll work out.
Great decision. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
You'll make it happen, as all moms do.
Yeah. All of us mother entrepreneurs figure it out.
That's right.
So balancing motherhood and being an entrepreneur is not always smooth sailing. What has been stressful for you about managing both roles?
Oh, it's funny. I just had a talk with my kids this morning. It's stressful because you're the caretaker for not just you, but for these little humans you're responsible for. But as you're trying to teach them responsibility, because they get to an age where they can, get themselves dressed. They can pour themselves a bowl of cereal. I'm almost there. On mom. Oh, we're there. This is mommy camp this summer. They're learning. They're 7 and 8. They're going into 2nd and 3rd grade. And they can do these little things. So I actually had a talk with them this morning because I was a bit stressed. And, I said, guys, we really have to help out. You guys are capable to help yourselves. And, I also have to set the bar of what it is to be a leader. When mom's late to work, that's not setting a good bar. That's making people think that it's okay to be late, and it's not. So we talked about how they're very lucky that I get to do a lot more things with them than I normally would. And that when we do go to things like camp, that I have to really cram in this time to work so that I can be with them again. So they were very understanding about it, and we're learning. How do I manage the stress of it all? I try to talk to my kids and get down with them and say, guys, I just really need help from you. And that's kind of my takeaway is I've learned to ask for help when I'm stressed.
That is what a lot of women have said. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing to do.
It is.
Women are very capable, and we like to do things, our way too. We like it done our way, but it is hard to ask for help.
There definitely comes a point where you're like, all right, I just have to. And then it becomes easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the motto is kind of like, help me, help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Help me so I can help you.
Yep. All right. So we've been chatting for a bit. We're going to move over to our rapid fire 5 and 5. So my first question for you is, what do you do to recharge, and how do you find time for yourself?
Well, as a busy mom, the reality of it is I'll find time, even if it's just to go get my nails done, or just a trip to Ulta, or a car ride by myself, or even just hanging out back on my hammock and reading a book. Or listening to music.
You just take those little moments.
Even if it's 15 minutes to reset and be still. Yeah.
So what are you currently reading or listening to?
That's a great question. It's a really well, you're an Eagle. I hope you're an Eagles fan. You live in Kennett. And if
Yeah.
you're not, that's okay. We'll still get along as long as it's not Dallas. But I'm a big
I
sports fan.
watch football sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I
love
would say
football.
I'm an Eagles fan, but I don't sit down every Sunday and watch. So
Gotcha. And that's okay as long as you're an Eagles fan. Uh, and if you're not, we
well,
can.
I wouldn't lie. I am.
Right.
So are you currently
So
reading something about the Eagles, or do you listen to like the
actually,
Jason
AJ
Kelsey?
Brown. So one of the Eagles, he was on the sidelines one day with a book called Inner Excellence. And he made it go viral. So everyone started picking up this book. And I put it on hold at the library. I finally have it in my hands. And it's a really deep read. I have to keep going back and rereading it, but I love the book. I'm not through it yet, but that is what I'm currently reading.
So when that happened, it was funny because everyone was freaking out about it. But I was also kind of thinking, like, should he be sitting on the sidelines reading, or should he be watching the game? I was confused.
Like, what is he reading during his
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, I guess that's okay. But
when you read it, you think to yourself, okay, all right, AJ Brown, I see you.
I'll have to add that one to the list. Everyone did freak out about it, but I never added it to the list. So if you say it's a good one.
Yeah, I have to keep like rereading pages, and it doesn't really sink in the first time. It's a really good read.
Deep.
It is deep.
Yeah. From a business owner perspective, who is your role model?
Oh, that's such a good question. I tend to lean toward the self-made success stories. And I don't know if this sounds cliche, but I do love Damon John. He is just always so positive, and I just love his story of how he hustled and had the grit and the grind to make it for himself. So I do still follow him on LinkedIn, and I just love everything that he shares, his philosophy on business, his philosophy on teaching your kids what business is, and empowering other business owners.
That's sweet. I like those types of role models as well. And that's typically the type of business reads that I read.
Yeah.
When I'm not reading the fun stuff.
Yeah, right.
What is the song you blast the shit out of if entrepreneur mom life is too much for you that day?
Oh, I love that. I love that question. I briefly saw it, and I have 3. I love listening to music, especially ones that motivate and inspire. But when I have a really hard day, I do listen to, she's a contemporary Christian artist. Her name is Lauren Daigle. And she has this beautiful song called Rescue.
Nice.
And yeah, if you ever have the chance to listen to it, it's beautiful. Other than that, let me think.
I will.
If you want a fun, edgy
this.
one,
yeah.
A fun, edgy one is Pink, called Hustle. And I will blast the shit out of that, especially if I'm walking into a big meeting.
And that's another local person.
I know. That's cool. I love her. Yes.
What is some advice you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom who might be ready to call it quits?
Don't quit for one more day.
Yeah.
Build a village.
Yep. We
build villages for our kids. Build a village for your business, because that's your baby too.
Yeah, I love that.
Build a village. Yeah.
That's
Reach
awesome.
out for support. Ask for someone to be a mentor. I'm a SCORE mentor. I volunteer with the nationwide organization, but more locally, our Delaware Chester County chapter of SCORE.org. And they provide free business mentorship.
Does SCORE stand for something?
I don't know.
Okay.
I probably should.
That's all right.
I should know that. But no, score.org. They will hook you up with a mentor almost within a couple of days. And all of the mentors are either, really successful self-made entrepreneurs or still working like myself. But connect with that. And that's free mentorship. That's unbiased. That's just there to try to help you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is a new piece of advice. Thank you very much for coming on today. It was so awesome to sit and chat with you. If listeners wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I'm social. So if you want, you could go to Facebook at Seta MacCrory or SubstiTooth Fairy. Instagram is SubstiTooth Fairy or Seta MacCrory, or LinkedIn is Seta MacCrory. I'm mostly on LinkedIn. So please feel free to connect. My email address is seta@substitutefairy.com.
Okay, great. I'll put all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much. Everyone, I normally leave you with a quote, but in the busy mom hustle this morning, I didn't have one. So my quote is,
don't quit for just one more day.
I love it. That's our quote. Don't quit for just one more day. All right, everyone. I will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.